What's up, everybody? It's a little cold today for April 27th, so um, figured it's a good day for the crock pot again. I was talking to my buddy Kevin Brady about my little cooking excursions, and it reminded me, you know, my stuff leans towards the Italian, Mediterranean type cuisine. That's because my mom's Italian, and that's pretty much where I got my foundation for my cooking. But I joked to Kev, you can never forget the Irish brethren. It reminded me of another friend of ours, Billy Haynes, would have this open house on Christmas Eve. So I came one night after my seven fish dinner, and it was Kevin, it was Billy, it was Pat, a couple of other people, and we were talking about. They asked me like, "What do you have for the seven fishes?" And I was like, bacala, calamari. I'm naming all this Italian stuff, and I can see in their head they're like, "Yeah, we don't like that." And then I said shrimp, and they joked, "Oh, Irish fish. We know that one." So today I'm going Irish, so I'm going to do a Guinness beef stew. So this is another one where it's front loaded, all the prep work, but once you get it in the crock pot, it's pretty easy. So all my measurements are going to be for a pound and a half of beef. So I got some just choice cubed beef. You don't need a real expensive cut because this is like a low and slow. I got about a pound of potatoes with some fresh rosemary. Giving them a pretty large chop because they're going to cook down a little bit in the stew. I got 2 cups of beef broth. I got about one small onion with about 3 cloves of garlic. I got about 3 stalks of celery and about 3 carrots diced up. I'm going to put a little bit of tomato paste in there. This recipe calls for a pint of Guinness when we get going. And, just salt, pepper, thyme. So to get this started, before I put anything in the crock pot, I'm going to put a sear on the beef. So you want to get your pan with a little bit of vegetable oil. Make sure it's hot. Get it for maybe 5 minutes aside. So I'm going to let that go for, again, about 5 minutes each side. And once this beef is in there, crack it with a bunch of salt and pepper on both sides. So that just helps, put a sear on there. Gets a little crust because we're doing this in a low and slow. But the other thing is, I'll show you when this 5 and 5 is done. I'm going to throw all that, beef glaze, for the lack of a better phrase, right in the pot. And then we're going to dump all the other stuff in. This is another one where if you put it on high, it's about 4 or 5 hours. If it's more low and slow, it's that 6 to 8 window. So I'll be back when this sear is done and we're throwing the other stuff in. So again, so we're back. Our beef has a good sear on it. So I would get your crock pot started on low and line it with a little bit of oil. So just make sure you get a little crust on there and all the pink gets out basically. And again, any remnants, in the pan, don't dump that. Make sure you get all of that, the juice and the fat that was rendered out of the beef. Make sure you get all that and throw it in the crock pot with it. All right, so then, like I said, it was front loaded. So now we just start dumping everything in. So you got your carrots and celery. You got your onions and your garlic. You got your broth. And again, as you're doing this, like anything else with the crock pot, I'm assuming everyone is at home, so you want to keep it covered, but also every 30 to 60 minutes, I would take the lid off, give it a good stir, and that serves 2 functions. Just keeps everything all mixed all well and good, and the other thing is you can keep an eye on it to see just how it's looking. So sometimes this is another thing. It kind of depends on your preference. Some people's beef stew, like my mom's, is a little bit thinner. I like it a little bit thicker, so you could do a couple things. The last half hour or so, you can do what I did with Tex-Mex chicken, take the lid off. That helps it to thicken up. If you feel like it's getting too thick, you could add some more broth. You could just add a little bit of water. That'll help thin it out. The other thing is you could put a little, I don't do this, but you always could if you wanted to, some flour or that cornstarch slurry to thicken it up as well. So this is the last ingredient. You know, never a bad time for Guinness. I kind of miss going to Sligo and Media. You know, Brianna does the best pour in Delaware County, but for now, I'm at home. The can will have to do. So just get all this in there. Again, you want to do it more on a high heat. I give it at least 4 or 5 hours. Otherwise, if you're doing more low and slow, it's about 6 to 8. So I would just top this off with, you can never do too much salt and pepper. And I'm going to put this lid on there. So as I am putting this lid on, it's just about 1:30. So, I don't know, it'll be a little bit of a later dinner, but should be good. We'll be back. All right, welcome back. So this has been going the better part of 6.5 hours. So I want to thicken it up a little bit. So I took the lid off of it. And I would do that for the last hour or so if you want it to get a little thicker. Because again, it's not beef soup, it's beef stew. If it's not looking as thick as you'd like it, again, you can add some cornstarch slurry, or if you've got all-purpose flour. If you do use the flour, just be careful. I would put it through some kind of sifter, because if you put in too much, you get clumps. It almost becomes like little dumpling type deals. So if you are going to do that, just be careful and use that flour pretty judiciously. And if you are going to use it again, if you got some kind of sifter, that's the best way to go. So I'll be back in a little while to finish this off. And again, I'll take you over just to show it really is coming together. And this crock pot, you know, when you cook stuff in here, it just takes a while to look right, but there's that magical moment when it just does. So we're getting close on this one. So again, something for my Irish buddies. Another one, Kevin Kernan just did a pretty nice set at 6:30 on the open mic. So, you know, Kevin, I've been enjoying it, and just keep it rolling. See ya. All right, I think we are ready to go. So what better drink to have with this stew than a Guinness draft? So I tried my best, but, you know, it's not like Brianna or Zach or Monica or anyone else at Sligo does it. But hopefully they'll be up and running, I don't know, by Memorial Day, by Father's Day, who knows. So again, you know, it kind of, it's right when it's right. So the other good thing about doing this in the crock pot is you can leave it on low, and if you wanted to continue to thicken it up, you could, you know, leave it on uncovered and, you know, have it later. If somebody is ready to eat who doesn't like it quite as thick, you know, they could eat it and the other person could wait. Whatever you want to do. So there it is, our Guinness beef stew with a fresh Guinness. So consider this one for the Irish peeps. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.